This is Peter's podcast number 1. Hey everyone, Peter Liciaga here, your Mount Laurel martial arts guy, and I figure I'd do a couple of things with these podcasts. And the number one thing is basically to answer questions that I'm asked daily and weekly. Sometimes the same question over and over and over again, and so I find myself repeating these answers. And so I wanted to go ahead and share that with you through these podcasts. But what I'm going to talk about today on my first podcast is 4 parts, just 4 things. Okay, and the first thing is going to be talking about getting up early. As a big thing, I'm getting a lot of response from people because I'm really documenting and sharing me getting up early. I get up 4:30 in the morning, and I want to talk about this early rising thing. And then another thing I'm going to talk about in this podcast is just martial arts training. That's what I do. I'm the martial arts guy in Mount Laurel. And I know there's other martial artists here, great martial artists. However, I'll put myself out there and make myself available to you so that I can better serve this community, Mount Laurel, as not only a resident, a dad, and a martial artist in this community. I want to be able to make myself available, and so that's why I refer to myself as your Mount Laurel martial arts guy. Okay, so I'll be talking about martial arts and martial arts training. Another thing I'm going to talk about, or at least discuss in one of the segments here, is just questions that I get from friends locally and internationally, and also from parents of our students, and also questions that I get from students. And then I'll be finishing off with just how you can support this work of creating safe environments, this work of personal development, support this work of even what I'm doing in the community, what we're doing at Donato Karate Center, where I teach, or the work that other martial arts schools are doing in the community. And so then, of course, we'll say goodbye after that. But the first thing I want to talk about is this idea of waking up early. I have a couple of things here that I thought I'd touch on and share with you, just my thoughts. And of course, I look forward to getting your responses, your comments, and just go ahead and share your comments, and I will definitely respond and appreciate your comments. Any questions you might have or thoughts you might have, please share with me. I'm definitely am very interested in what you think. And again, I'm here to serve you. So the big question I want to ask all the time to everyone in my community is what can I do for you? How can I help you? What can I do to serve you? Okay, and I know I sometimes get a lot of crazy responses with that, but in my heart, I really do want to offer my services, offer my knowledge, my wisdom, for what it's worth to everyone in my community. So the first thing is that getting up early, and let me speak for myself. I get up early simply because, and I get up that early, 4:30. I know a lot of people say, well, do you have to get up that early? You don't have to get up that early. I get up that early because for me, it's the most effective part of the day for me. And that's the number one for me, is that I'm the most creative. I'm clear. I've had a great night's rest. There's nothing that's clouding my mind when I get up that early. The only thing that's on my mind is just simply getting up and starting my day. And I've always loved getting up early in the morning. I love this idea of a new day, getting up and I have a whole new day to live. And I've always loved that. Now, the reason why I get up 4:30 in the morning and choosing that time is simply because it takes discipline for me to get up that early. It's not easy for me to get up that early. I know as an actor, when I do film projects, I know the last big film that I did was Last Airbender, and we spent probably about 3 months working on that film, and sometimes I had calls that I had to be on location at 5:30, so that means I had to get up at 3:30 to drive out to the location. Sometimes the location was 2 hours away and 3 hours away, but I knew I had to have discipline to get up that early, so I knew it was tough. So as an actor, I wanted to do that. But I really wanted to discipline myself and challenge myself to get up that early. That's one reason. It's just basically discipline, to get up and to rely on discipline. Because I can tell you right now that at 4:30 in the morning, the last thing that I am is motivated. And once in a blue moon, I'll wake up. Like today, I woke up without any alarm. I woke up at 4:25. I got up, I saw the time, it was 4:25, and I said, okay, I'm up. I didn't need the alarm today. But sometimes I need that alarm. More often than not, I need that alarm. 5 to 6 days out of the week, I need that alarm. And sometimes I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I get to bed probably between 10 and 10:30. That's when my body says, that's it, shut down, go to sleep. But sometimes I have to be up late. Maybe there's a conversation that I have to have with my wife or my kids, or something comes up within the family, something I have to do for the next day that I have to spend extra time on. So sometimes maybe I'll get to sleep a little bit later, but my discipline and my challenge is to get up at 4:30. And so that's why I do it, because I want to be disciplined. And not only disciplined, but I know in my household, I want to be, and I've chosen myself to be, the most disciplined person in my household. That anyone in the household, from my wife to my kids, they know they can rely on me because I am that disciplined. When anything goes wrong, or when there's an emergency, they know they can trust and rely on me. I'll do what needs to get done because I'm that disciplined. And so it's a great demonstration to myself of my discipline, but also a great demonstration to my family that I'm disciplined to do what needs to get done. And I'm up before anyone. And when they get up, I'm wide awake. I'm fully awake. I'm not groggy, and I'm not going to complain to them. Oh, I can't think straight right now. Don't talk to me because I'm not awake yet. No, I'm fully awake for them, to serve them. And like I extend to you, my community, that I'm here for you. And what can I do to serve you? It starts at home. I get up early, I'm wide awake, and my whole heart and my mindset is for my family, to serve them. What can I do to serve you? And so that's why, one reason why I get up early, to be disciplined and be the most disciplined in my team. And also to, there's also this idea that I want to be the point person. Many years ago, I read a book called Point Man. Matter of fact, it's right on my desk right over here. Right over here, and it's from Steve Farah, Point Man. And I read this, I don't have a date on this one here because it's years ago, before I started putting dates in books when I start first reading them. But that book just challenged me to be prepared and trained to be a point man for my family. And this was written by a gentleman that was military, and he's a Vietnam vet. And he spoke about being point man there and the danger of being a point man. And so there was a lot of great insight in that book that really inspired me to really think in this direction, that I'm going to be the point man for my family. There's danger there. I want to keep my wits about me. I want to keep my eyes open, be alert, and be quick, and see any traps, any upcoming emergencies. I want to be that point person in our family. And getting up early is part of that for me, to be alert. And so that's one reason why I do it. Okay, another reason is that I know that I have it here, getting up before the enemy. And I know for the most part that that the enemy is laziness. The enemy is lack of discipline, is lack of confidence, low self-esteem. And so a lot of things that would mess with my character, mess with my mind, mess with my head, mess with my ability to accomplish what needs to get accomplished, to get things done. That's the enemy. And so getting up in the morning for me is my way of getting up before the enemy takes hold. And I want to be strong. I want to be alert. I want to be ready to confront the enemy. So I know 4:30 in the morning, the enemy is not there, because it takes full-on discipline to get up that early in the morning. So those are the couple of reasons why I wake up and I get up early, and I get up at 4:30 in the morning now. What time do you guys get up? Why do you get up? And what's your mindset when you wake up, and do you do it on purpose for only job, or do you do it for yourself? Now, I get up early for me, and I don't have to get up early because I have a job where I don't have to I don't have to be on job site until, let's say, 3:30, 3:45 in the afternoon, unless there's a project that I got to do in the morning, or, if I have work that I have to do in the morning, I'll have my conference call with Master Donato, for the school. We'll talk about curriculum, training, any marketing that we're going to be doing to share with the community what we're doing at the school. We do that maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, but I do that from my phone in my home office or on my couch or in my kitchen. I can do that pretty much anywhere, but I really don't have to get up early. I get up early simply because I want to be on point, and that's what I do, and that works for me. But I don't have to get up. So the question is, what time do you get up, and why do you get up? And so I'm curious to hear that. And so enough about getting up early. And what's also fun when I get up, I started from my birthday. My birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that, instead of I'm going to receive gifts, but I wanted to give as a gift a way for me to serve my kids. And that is this. I get up early. Not only do I make myself breakfast, but I make my kids breakfast. And I'll make them what I call their power breakfast, to build their minds and build their bodies. And so me getting up early also gives me an opportunity to prepare meals and really be a servant and be a waiter and a cook for my family. So I actually enjoy that, and I love being in the kitchen. Okay, and so let me move on to the martial arts training, and me as a martial artist, and some of the things that I want to talk about when it comes to martial arts. Now, martial arts for me has changed my life, and those of you that follow me, if you've seen me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you've been following me for a couple of years, and I've been very active in living out loud and sharing my life in a very discerning way. Since, I guess, 2006, 2007, I went full on, all in, starting 2008, and I've been doing that since then. And so, but martial arts has really been one of the key factors in my personal development and my ability to get disciplined and to have this mindset where I can be that point man, that I can get up early, that I can do what needs to get done, and I can train my mind and my warrior spirit and my body so that I can get things done. And martial arts has been an incredible factor there. And I believe that everyone needs to train martial arts. And if you live in Mount Laurel, my hope is that you would train within my school, the school that I teach at Donato Karate Center. But I really, at the end of the day, I really don't care where you go to train in martial arts. There's some great martial artists out there, even here in Mount Laurel. And so, but the bottom line is train martial arts. And I don't care how old you are, how young you are, where you are as far as your shape is. You could be so far out of shape because you got out of college. Maybe you were an athlete. I mean, a lot of dads and parents that were athletes, and they got married, they had children. You went full on, full force into raising their family, meeting the needs and responsibilities of a family. And so their day was really filled with that, and they would have no time to work on themselves. And I want to say that you do have time. You could find time. Matter of fact, if you find that time to do a martial arts class 2 to 3 times a week, this way you can have retention, you can really get the benefits of martial arts class, then you will see that improve all other areas of your life. Matter of fact, you do whatever you can in a martial arts class. I know maybe 1 hour a week will do, but that's 1 hour that you have an opportunity to build and get insight into becoming a better you, stronger you, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so I believe everyone needs to be in martial arts. And so let me give you a couple of things there that might be obvious for some, but let me explore these things that are obvious a little bit more to give you some thoughts and hopefully get some feedback from you. Only going a few things. I could go on forever with this, and I don't want to. And martial arts, first of all, it's awareness. Martial arts is going to help you become aware. Not only become aware of the idea of awareness with your surroundings when you go out into the world for self-defense and safety, but awareness of who you are, awareness of your weaknesses and your strengths, so that you could really say, oh gosh, I'm strong here. Let me maximize this. Let me optimize this. Let me go all in on my strengths. But at the same time, recognizing your weaknesses and say, gosh, I need work here. I'm weak here. So now I am aware of that. So let me focus on my strengths, maximize my strengths, but at the same time, let me be aware of my weaknesses and just admit that and be aware of that and improve on it if I can. And then just know that. So awareness is a crucial factor to personal development. And I know my family, I grew up in a family that struggles with substance abuse. And whatever program they went into, like AA or whatever program they would go into, the program, the number one thing is that you have to be aware and admit that you're in a situation that it's a problem within the case of substance abuse. So awareness is number one. So being in a martial arts program will help you with your awareness on all levels. And so that's number one. And for just that alone, I really want to encourage you guys to do martial arts. Another thing is just, it helps you to really understand how to create safe environments through your awareness and through your ability to be confident to move to an action. And it takes time to build up this response. When you're aware of a situation and you respond to it, that takes training and takes time. However, if you don't ever train, which is what martial arts is going to be helpful with, if you don't ever train, your response will be almost, it's not going to be serving you. When you are aware of a situation that's dangerous, you won't have the confidence because you haven't trained in it, and so you'll have this fear that's going to freeze you more often than not. There's exceptions out there. However, martial arts helps you to really understand and be aware of your environments. This way, you could be better equipped to be safe in any environment. And by being safe, with this understanding and knowledge that you would get through martial arts training under a good instructor, is that you have the wisdom, you have the understanding, you are aware intellectually of what to do in environments, so that when you walk into that environment, it's safe simply because you're there. Okay, and so it becomes a safe environment. And very quickly, the other day I was at Aldi Mart, and I go to Aldi, and that's where I get my chicken. And a great chicken there, nice tender chicken. I like my chicken breast there. But I was walking in there, had my karate uniform on, and I was with my daughter. We both had, our karate uniform on without rank belts. So my belt, if you look close, you can see it's a master belt with 6 degrees. My daughter's a 3rd degree. So we went in there, and I saw an exit. And the exit, exits that you are not allowed to go through unless it's an emergency. We had the bar there and had the sign that said something like this. It said, alarm will sound, and 15 seconds, after 15 seconds, the door will open. I went, wait a minute, the alarm will sound, and after 15 seconds, door will open. So it sounded like the door will stay locked for 15 seconds. When you try to open it. That was my understanding of what it said on the door. So in my mind, I'm saying to myself, oh my gosh, if there was a situation in this store right now that I had to get out fast, okay, let me get real dramatic here. If it was an active shooter, you only have seconds to respond and get out. And I would have get out that door, and in reality, if that sign it was true to what that sign said, I pushed that door, but the door would not open for 15 seconds, then I'm in deep, deep trouble if there's a live shooter there. So my mind was going. Again, I was aware of the situation through my martial arts training, and I was right away started thinking, okay, what would I do? I saw that that would not be an option. Maybe I'd push the door, and then maybe I'd go here, there, hide, do something. But I became aware of that, And then because of that, my level of creating a safer environment for me was heightened. And so that's an example, again, changes the way you think, martial arts, that is. Another thing is fitness. If you're going to run from danger, you want to know that your body can you need to know what your limitations are and what your strengths are. If you're someone that can't run, you need to know that. If you're someone that can't kick, can't strike, you need to know that. Or you need to know also that, look, I can run, but I can run like this and let me get out fast doing this, or I could strike, I could kick, what can I do? Martial arts will help you with that. It'll help you with your fitness and build that up. But at the same time, it brings you to an awareness of what you can do, what you cannot do. So then you can then respond in a realistic way with respect to you and your strengths or weaknesses and limitations. Okay, and then discipline, of course, it's a given. It'll build discipline. It's going to take discipline. Right now, you're going to say, oh my gosh, you might be saying, you know what, I don't have time. I have this to do, that to do, that to do. But you know what? You've got to instill discipline. Say, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to get it done. Martial arts will teach you to do that. Just get it done. No excuses. And guess what? Your family's worth it, right? You being that person that leads the way in becoming aware and training yourself to be this person that can be safe in every environment because you just simply are aware and you're training yourself for it. So discipline, so you lead the way with that. Okay, become a real role model for your family, for people that know you, so they know that you are someone that does all that they can to improve themselves, and martial arts is a powerful way to do that. Another thing is that it helps you stay on point. And I talk about being a point person. If you're a mom or a dad, doesn't matter, or even a teen or a kid watching this, choose to be the point man. Or, like for instance, I used to give a conversation when I share with students, and I said it the other day actually, that everyone in my family is a black belt. I'm a 6th degree, my wife's 1st degree, my daughter's 3rd degree, and my son's 2nd degree. And so I look at it this way, I'm the point man. So we're going through challenges, and if I go down, my wife has been trained up to take over. She becomes the point man. Okay, and then if she goes down, my daughter, she's been trained up, take over and lead the way, be a point man, point person. And then if she goes down, my son is trained to lead the way, to be the point man. And then I'll always add that if he goes down, we're not going to care. We're going to be up in heaven with God, okay? But the idea is train yourself to be that point person, and martial arts will do that. And another thing is this. I love this saying when you grow up, and it's an old saying. It's been said a lot, and sometimes parents say this without really verbalizing it. Is do as I do, not as I. Or they say this. Do as I say, not as I do. But for me, with martial arts and the way I live my life is do as I do and do as I say. So there's a congruency. When I say this, I'm also doing it. So I'm not telling people to do this. I'm not telling you to do martial arts and train hard and challenge yourself and get up at a maximum time of the day at an optimum time of the day to maximize your day, to maximize you. I'm not telling you to do that, and I'm not doing it. Okay, I'm saying it and I'm doing it. And so martial arts is going to help you with that, because all of you will say that everyone needs to know how to protect themselves. Everyone needs to know self-defense. I think everyone would agree with that. I'm not too sure I could meet anyone in their right mind that would say that self-defense and being trained to protect yourself is not important, and everyone should know that. Okay, I think everyone would agree with that. So if you say that, but yet you don't train yourself, then you're basically being a hypocrite. You're being one of these people that say, do as I say, not as I do. And our children will not learn so much from what we say, they'll learn from what we do. And I don't care what age our kids are. My kids are in their teens, and I have not lessened what I do with my life as far as demonstrating to them discipline and doing the right thing. I have not lessened it because they're getting older. I've increased it. I've taken it to a whole new level so they see it in a bigger way, because it's important that they see it consistently. My son is 13, my daughter is 16, and they've only known me as disciplined and someone who says and does what he says he's going to do, and there's a congruency there. So martial arts is going to help you with that. It's going to demonstrate that you're going to not only say something, but you're going to do it. So that's why I say train martial arts. Everyone should be training martial arts. Everyone. I don't care. I remember a kid the other day, I think it was about 3 days ago, a kid came up to me and said, well, asked about, handicap. How do should handicap people do martial arts? And I said, of course. I said, everyone should do martial arts. They were confused and they were saying, well, how would they do martial arts? How can they do the things? And then I gave them my speech on, adapting, improvising, and just making it happen, and overcoming. So adapt, improvise, and overcome. So whatever their challenges are, let's say, for instance, if they're in a wheelchair, okay, yes, maybe they cannot kick, but what can they do? How can they maneuver that wheelchair? This way that wheelchair becomes one of their tools in their ability to be to have self-defense. And so anyone could go into a martial arts class, no matter what their challenges are, and then, like I said earlier, you will realize your strengths, and you'll learn how to maximize those strengths and build on those strengths. The weaknesses, the lacks that you have, the things you have, forget all that. Now, if you can have a weakness that you can build up on, great. Go ahead and build on it, but mostly focus on your strengths. So anyone can do it. And they were amazed by this answer. They were, oh my gosh. And I saw in their eyes, they had that aha moment. It's one of those moments for me as a teacher that I look for, where I change the mindset of someone. It's the most exciting thing. So everyone should train martial arts. So train martial arts. Next thing. Let's talk about some of the questions that I get from friends, parents, and students, and this is broad. Okay, I'm not going to go to specific questions right now, but these questions from anger management, emotional maturity, self-control, and self-discipline. And let me just land on this idea of emotional maturity and then anger management. Many parents, and even some of my friends, they'll talk about how they've lost control and what do they do? What do I do? Now, we all know what to do as adults. We know what we ought to do to control our anger. We know that anger is an emotion, and there's nothing wrong with the emotion in and of itself. We have it, accept it. It's how we respond, how we react when we get emotional, not just with anger, but any emotion. And I want to just talk a little bit about that, my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Again, leave the comments right below. Let me hear your thoughts on emotional maturity. And should somebody, when you get emotional, does that give you the right to be free and expressive with that emotion, whatever the cost? Like, for instance, if you get upset because you're angry, and you're going to start cussing and hurting people's feelings with words and losing control because you're angry. Do you believe that people should just let that happen without any control of that? Or do you believe that someone should be in control of their emotions and recognize there's a time and a place and a way to express their emotion, and they need to be disciplined to do that? I'm curious. My thought is this. My thought is the latter. My thought is that recognizing your emotions and recognizing your environment, where you are, and knowing that there's a time and a place and a way to express your emotions, no matter what it is, whether you're extremely angry or whether you're extremely excited about something, that you should find there's a time and a place and a way to express that emotion, emotional maturity. Now, some people would probably say, well, we say we have to be like robots, that we have to be programmed. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there is a responsibility to expressing yourself, and that we need to take responsibility for that. Simply because there are other people out there that are struggling. There's various levels of emotional maturity. And the last thing I want to do is to lose my temper And I have a right to do that. I have a right. We all have the rights. I mean, we live in an incredible country. We have the right. We have many rights to, and one of those rights is freedom of speech and expression. But I believe that my responsibility as a human being, as somebody who does care about other people, is to say, you know what? If I express myself without discipline, without thought and consideration to others, will I hurt others and maybe even jeopardize and put them in a situation where they struggle more? And especially the older I get, I'm 56 years old, and I'm considered by the young kids as an old guy. And so I got my gray hair now, and I've lived several years. I've got experience, I've got wisdom, and I have real life experience. So a lot of the young people, maybe even in their 30s, I'm recognizing, are seeing me as someone that's lived a few years, maybe even wise, and is an older guy. And they're looking to me as an example, as a real role model on how to live life. And I've chosen that I want to show them the best that I can show them. And my best is going to be me recognizing what my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, and be aware of that, and then present that to them in a very honest way, in a way that they say, you know what, wow, Pete is doing this. This is how he's focused, he's disciplined, he's enjoying life. And again, this is why I share how I live my life in a very responsible way. Of course, I don't, if there's things going on, issues in my family or within my community or with my students that are personal, that are private, I don't share that, but I'm pretty much sharing my life so that you can see that I'm a human being like everyone else, that yes, I'm disciplined, but hey, like those of you, if I ask you guys right now, my students out there, people who know me, who've known me for a little while, what's the one snack that I love to eat that I could have a tendency to be very, very selfish on? What's that snack? Let me know. Okay, if you know, just put it right in the comments below. Okay, but I have my weaknesses, but I want you guys to know that. However, I am acutely aware of the fact that I have an opportunity to demonstrate discipline. Okay, and I'm in that place in my life that I can. And I have a right to express myself angry, to shout, yell, curse, and lose control, or I have the power of choice to say, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to look good. And I'm aware also of the fact that you have a lot of videos. People whip out their smartphones, and I could see right now, and I visualize right now, if I lose it, I know one of my students or somebody's going to videotape me losing it, and they're going to have that. And look, Master Liciaga lost it. He went crazy. See, he really doesn't have discipline. So I have this thought that they're going to videotape this, put it out there, and turn it into memes with my face all like this here, and that'd be funny. But at the end of the day, I will always, vote for self-control and controlling your emotions, your anger, simply because that's more responsible, that's more useful. And I love the fact that, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that if there's a storm and all hell is breaking loose and going crazy, I'm going to look for that one person that is at peace. They have their wits about them and they're thinking clearly. They're saying, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, what needs to get done? You can only do that with a clear mind, a disciplined mind that controls the emotions. And law enforcement, well-trained law enforcement personnel, they do that. Military, highly trained military, they do that. Like Navy SEALs, Special Ops, they do that. They train themselves to go into crazy environments and to not get emotional and to get the job done, to get it done, because they know there's a time, there's a place, and there's a way to process those emotions. And thank God for them. Thank God for the military. Thank God for law enforcement, for corrections officers, for firefighters, EMTs. Because if they did not have the ability to control, have emotional maturity to go into these chaotic situations, many more lives would be lost. Yes? So that's my answer to that question about, questions that have to do with anger management, emotional maturity, self-control, and self-discipline. And a lot of times they would ask me, well, how do I do that? Simple answer is this: just do it. Just do it. Well, how do I have control over my anger? Do it. And you say, well, what are some strategies? Breathing, okay? Simply telling yourself, calm down. Being aware of your triggers. Okay, you feel the stomach building up. You feel that happening. Make a conscious effort. Make a decision. Stop. I'm not going to allow that emotion to take control of me. Remember, it's your mind. Your mind controls everything. Controls your body, and it controls your emotions. And your body doesn't control your mind, and your emotions don't control your mind. It's your mind, your intelligence, your ability to choose. That's your power. And so simply decide not to. I'm not going to lose control. That's it. And that's my suggestion. Last thing is support the work. There's work happening in your community. Into people. And my wife right now, she's on several committees, helping out, doing her part. She wanted to get active in the community and become really not just someone that sees challenges and work that needs to be done in the community and then talks about it, but she wanted to get involved. And so she's getting involved. And I suggest everyone get involved. Find out what's going on in your community. And not so much about, okay, what's wrong with my community, but mostly, what needs to get done here? What needs to get done? And what can I do to help get it done? Okay, and so do that. And another way you can support the work, and right now I want to get this information out to parents and families. I'll do this. I'll share this on the networks, on social networks and all that. But what's also going to support the work that I'm doing, what we're doing at Donato Karate Center, what other martial artists are doing in our community, what our families, what our students are doing, what our kids are doing, is you take the information like this and share it on your social networks. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are, take information like this. If you see it valuable and useful and helpful to you, chances are one more person might see this. So support the work. Share information like this. Share this. Whenever you read an article, share that article. Whenever you see a video, hear a podcast, anything and everything, share that. So many of us are we easily share the bad news. We'll hear about a shooting or a robbery or an assault, and we'll right away start sharing that. But let's share the great stuff that's going on in our community. Share that. Okay, support the work by sharing. Another thing is support the work by joining a martial arts program. Okay, martial arts programs are extremely valuable to the community. And I'm excited because I know Master Donato, Michael Donato, started Donato Karate back in 1993. And when he started, there was only a handful, maybe 2 or 3 martial arts schools in Mount Laurel, this area here. Now, gosh, we have probably about 10, maybe even more in this area, which I think is incredibly exciting. Now, the challenge is that each of these schools have to meet the needs of the community and be connected with the community and know how their martial arts program can help the community today in a very current and relevant way. But I'm excited because there's so many martial arts schools out there. When I do the demographics in Mount Laurel in Burlington County, there's a lot of families. a lot of kids. And one school, a handful of schools, could not serve those families effectively. So I am excited that we have great martial arts instructors choosing to start their programs here. Because, I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that I'm the only instructor for everyone in Mount Laurel, Master Donato, all my other friends, that's the only instructor and everyone should be going to them. Because some people just may not like my energy. They might like someone that's very quiet and soft-spoken. I'm not that. Master Donato is not that. We're straight on hardcore about we take our martial arts seriously, and you see that. Okay, not that someone who's teaching in a very soft and quiet way doesn't take their martial arts seriously. Don't get me wrong, but there's a different energy. So each instructor, will resonate with a community member, with a mom, with a dad, with a child in a different way. A child may like for instance at Donato Karate. Some students love Master Donato. They just want to, when's Master Donato teaching? I want to take his class. Master Liciaga is okay, and Master Klein is okay, Master Patrick, and Miss Liciaga. They're all great. They're the great instructors, but I love Master Donato. I love his energy. Or someone would say that, hey, I want Master Klein. Master Klein, great guy, very happy, and when's he teaching? I like his classes. Now Master Donato, I like him, and all the other instructors. But Master Klein, I like him. Or Miss Liciaga, I love her energy, and she's So each student has their preference. Same thing with schools. So go out there, find schools, get a martial arts program that you resonate with, instructor that you love, that you want to learn from, and train. Just get out there and train. That's a great way to support the work that's being done out there. Okay, every time that someone's training in a martial arts program, that's one more person being given the opportunity to learn awareness, self-defense, discipline, and becoming a better person. Okay, another thing you could do to support the work is simply get healthy and get fit for your everyday challenges. And that's a daily mindset, a daily routine. Let it be your habit to do something every day to get fit. This way you have the energy to excel in everything that you do. I remember when I tested for my personal training license many years ago, one of the things that I was told by the person that was helping me prepare for the test for my personal training license was that, you want to have the energy for your day to get the things that you have to get done, and enough energy left over so that once you've done what you had to get done, that you still have energy enough left over to do the things that you would prefer to do, the fun stuff, okay? And so get fit, get healthy, and more importantly, be healthy and fit because you're preparing for those battles and those little wars that are going to come into your life. That emergency that comes up, anything and everything. You know what I'm talking about, because it's in a drop of a hat. We're not promised, an easy life. And we know if we've lived long enough, we know that life is full of challenges. And so it's not a question of what do you do if there's a challenge in life, but there's a question of what do you do when there's a challenge in your life. What do? You will focus, you will improvise, you will do what has to get done, you will be clear-headed about it, you will not get emotional, you will be asking yourself, okay, this is what's happening, what do I need to get done? And then you will get it done. And if some things that you have no control over, you'll be able to be mature, emotionally mature enough to accept it, process it, and press on. Because, truth be told, life is too short to allow stresses to bog us down. So let's process those stresses. And you can do that when your mind is clear, when your body is healthy, and you are aware of your emotions, of your state of mind, and you make that choice, that power to choose, make that choice to implement what you've trained yourself in, and you can rely on your training when all that crap hits the fan and it comes at you like blinding speed, like a tsunami of challenges. And people say that, when it rains, it pours. Sometimes that's just the way it is, but are you trained up for it? So one way to help and support the work, get fit, get healthy, so that you can not only serve your community, but when there is stresses in your life, that you can be that solution to those stresses in your life and your family's life. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you for spending the time with me. And again, let me know how I can help. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And I look forward to hearing from you. Again, this is my first podcast for this, Peter's podcast. And I'll be putting this up every Thursday. And so it'll develop over time, I'm sure. And if I get someone to help to join me on this, that'd be awesome. And I did want to do that. I did want to say, I said, hey, should I do this by myself, or should I get with someone to do it with me? This way we can have some banter back and forth. And I have a couple of guys that I've been talking to. And so you never know. I know I've done podcasts with my wife before. That was exciting. But her schedule is very, very crazy. And so you never know. I might have someone that I can banter back and forth with. There'll be two of us here. This way you just won't only get one viewpoint or view on this, but you'll have maybe two. But other than that, until then, you've got me for what that's worth. And I appreciate you guys spending time with me. You have a great day. I see you guys next time. Bye.